Chuck Hagel is in a world of trouble. Now, he appears to be the top choice for President Obama for Secretary of Defense. Of course he is. He's a Republican. But the Republicans are mad because he is apparently not sufficiently Republican. That while he was a Republican senator from Nebraska, at times he would criticize the Iraq War. And that would make you unqualified to be Secretary of Defense. How? If I'm not mistaken, the Iraq War was a disaster. If I'm not mistaken, President Obama was against the Iraq War, so it would make a lot of sense for him to nominate someone who barely criticized the Iraq War a little bit towards the end after he had voted for it all along. But of course, he's made another critical error, which is that he once talked about how the Israeli lobby had too much power, and then on top of that error, he compounded it by saying that it was the Jewish lobby rather than the Israeli lobby. Of course, he misspoke because a great majority of Jews in America actually vote Democratic and do not necessarily support AIPAC and the right-wing Israeli lobby, right? But how, and he said that he was a senator from I love this one. He said he's a senator from the United States of America, not from Israel. People are like, how dare you? Well, what did you want him to say? Yeah, I represent Israel while I'm supposed to be representing the constituents of Nebraska? But these are, in Washington, huge crimes. They cannot be forgiven. So President Obama did his usual trial balloon. This is where he goes, all right, Republicans, here's who I'm thinking of nominating. Go ahead and destroy him or her. And of course, the Republicans obliged. And they've been attacking Hegel ever since. And Lindsey Graham, John McCain, every Republican you can name, oh, Hegel, how could you? Hegel, no way, no way. In fact, they're going so far as to charge Hegel now with full-blown, they're saying, that's it, he's an anti-Semite. He spoke in a way he shouldn't have about Israel, that's it. Bigot, anti-Semite, everything. They're throwing the kitchen sink at him. Why? Because they know President Obama isn't choosing his own nominees going forward. The Republicans are choosing them. Every time he does a trial balloon, if the Republicans don't like it, they knock it down, and Obama, of course, cowers and backpedals. So they're doing the same thing to Hegel. Instead, they would like Michelle Flournoy, who worked well with Robert Gates, who was another Republican Secretary of Defense. Now, Michelle Flournoy claims to be a Democrat. At least she contributed to Hillary Clinton in 2007. So Obama feels like, well, I always pick my enemies. So to be in my cabinet, so maybe that makes sense in some way. But anyway, Obama doesn't decide, the Republicans decide. But I've been telling you this for a couple of weeks now about how Hegel was in trouble. Now, and Obama hasn't made his final decision yet. But here's when I knew Hegel was done. Meet the press. This is Democratic Senator Chuck Schumer.
Senator Schumer, should the president make that nomination?
Well, that's his choice. I think once he makes it, his record will be studied carefully. But until that point, I think we're not going to know what's going to happen.
Can you support him?
I'd have to study his record.
Oh, I'd have to study his record. I'm not sure I'm supporting him yet. Oh, that's a Democratic senator. It's over. By the way, Democratic Congressman David Engel from New York has said on C-SPAN that he also is concerned about Chuck Hagel. Now, the guy that Chuck Hagel talked to about the Israeli lobby was a guy by the name of Aaron David Miller. And he was on with Chris Hayes, does a terrific program on MSNBC. So he's the one that told you all these quotes. And by the way, Aaron David Miller has worked for 24 years at the State Department, and his specialty is Arab-Israeli negotiations. Do you think Chuck Hagel is an anti-Semite or any of these charges? Well, let's find out.
Regardless of whether Chuck Hagel is confirmed or not confirmed, or if even if he's announced, or whether he should be the Secretary of Defense or not, there's one basic reality that needs to be laid out, I think, fundamentally clearly, and that is Chuck Hagel is not an anti-Semite. He's not an enemy of the State of Israel. I would argue he's not even hostile to the State of Israel. The reality is Hagel believes in a special relationship with Israel, but I would argue not an exclusive relationship.
This is a crime in Washington, that we have a special relationship with a country, but not an exclusive one, where we do everything they say. By the way, Hegel, who is a right-winger in this country, okay, domestically totally right-wing, voted with Bush a great over 90% of the time, is saying, hey, you know what? Maybe agreeing with the right-wing government of Israel is not only not to our advantage, but not even to Israel's advantage. That perhaps we can get Israel a better result if we actually drive them towards peace rather than war. How dare you? Obvious elimination from Secretary of Defense if you're not willing to start more wars? Aaron David Miller has more.
Part of what's happening is what I call the cosmic oy vey. It's the inability of many in the American Jewish community to look at the U.S.-Israel relationship as a real, living relationship driven by political realities, by strategic realities, and sometimes, I know it's a shocker, the diverging interests that sometimes separate the United States and Israel. In part, it was that interview that has led to so much of the attack on Chuck Hagel, and from that perspective, it's really wrong.
In Washington, you're eliminated from a cabinet position if you say that perhaps U.S. interests do not align with Israel's interests 100% of the time. Perhaps. There's something fundamentally wrong with that, man. We shouldn't give any other country that kind of power, no matter how close they are to us. Not Canada, not the UK, not Israel, not anybody. We should care about our country more than anything else. Doesn't mean we shouldn't care about Canada or Israel. It means you do bounds of reason and you look out for our interests. And by the way, again, as a friend for their interests, not just simply listening to their right-wing government that is driving them into war over and over again. But apparently, that's a disqualifier. So President Obama hasn't said that he's going to pull Hagel's nomination yet, and he hasn't formally nominated him. That's how Obama works. That is his, plan for failure, which is put someone up, let everybody ravage him, viciously attack him, and then go, well, I was going to do Hegel anyway. Yeah, screw Hegel. No, I'm going with Flournoy, or the one that the Republicans say that they're totally fine with. So you have that to look forward to.